Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about every single book that I have rated 5 stars this year so far. Yeah, every single book that I've rated 5 stars this year so far. I was looking at the books that I've read so far this month to see if there was any 5 stars in there, but there is not. So yeah, I have a lot of books. I'm also covering my Christmas tree because I have so many different, I have them stacked in genres and other piles for different videos that I need to keep books separated for. So that's why I'm covering the Christmas tree. So yeah, we're just gonna have to go with this right now. Let's start with fantasy first. So first book I rated, I don't think this is like the first book that I rated 5 stars. It's the first fantasy book that we're gonna talk about that I rated 5 stars. This is Legendborn by Tracy Denon. I don't really hear much about this book, but it's very good. It has like King Arthur and the Round Table stuff and like the Salem witches, like the witch trials and stuff like that. It talks about that stuff. And I really liked how the author like incorporated history into like a fantasy book. I really like how the author like incorporated history into this book to make it really feel like it happened. So I guess this is like modern fantasy technically, because Crescent City is like, yeah, okay, so this is modern fantasy. I related it to Crescent City even though I've literally never read Crescent City. But yeah, it's very good. I really liked it. And I'm waiting for Blood March to come out in paperback, which happens in like February or something like that. So I'm very excited for that. Then we have Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I read King of Stars. Well, obviously I read King of Stars, which is the first book in this duology, but I only rated it 3.5 stars. And then this book absolutely just blew it out of the water. But I feel like with duologies, typically, except for Six of Crows, typically with duologies, the first book, like the majority of it is kind of like setting up the story, and then it like starts building towards the second half, which happened in this book, and then you get to like a really big cliffhanger at the end of this book, and then, you know, everything finishes out in the second book, which happened in this one. But I really feel like it was necessary for this duology to really like build up to this point. But yeah, I really loved this duology, and this was very good. Right, next we have Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This is the third book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I don't remember what I rated Shadow and Bone and then Siege and Storm. I think it was like 4 stars and then 4.5 stars or something like that, or they were both 4.5 stars. I can't really remember. But this was really good, and I love the ending, even though most people hate this ending. Then we have Let the Sky Fall by Shannon Messenger. This is the first book in the Let the Sky Fall trilogy. I reread it. This is like the 3rd or 4th time that I've reread this series. And I don't know. I guess the 2nd and 3rd book just weren't really giving me that 5-star feeling, but this one really was. I think because this book is like 50% fantasy, 50% romance, and the last 2 books are like 75% romance, 25% fantasy. And I think I like more fantasy in books than I like romantasy books or like fantasy books with like a little bit of romance. I think I like it better when there's more fantasy than romance. But I'm also a fantasy girly, so that probably has something to do with that. Then we have Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This is the first book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. There are going to be 10 books, technically 11 because there's an 8.5 books in this series. The 10th book has not come out yet, and I need it to come out so bad because Stellarlune ended just, I still remember like what the ending was, but I'm doing a reread because there's a lot of details that I kind of forgot because I started reading the series so long ago. Like, it had been out for only a couple of years. The first book came out in 2013. We're in 2023. So this series has been been continuously being written for 10 years. I've been reading it for less time than that, like 7 years or something like that. But there's a lot of things that like I forgot about that weren't important, but then they're brought up in later books, and then you're like, wow, that actually was important. So I'm doing a reading vlog, and I'm annotating these books. I just finished Exile a couple weeks ago. So, yeah. Then we have, like, the main star of this whole video, which is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I am absolutely obsessed with this book. I think about it all the time. Literally all the time. Like, I can't tell you how much I think about it. I read this at the beginning of November, but it was on my August TBR, and I really wish I would have read it in August. But then again, I don't, because then I would have had to wait longer for Reckless, which comes out in July, I think. So yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with this series, and there's only one book out, and I cannot wait for Reckless, and I'm really hoping it's just as good as this one, if not better, because it's enemies to lovers slow burn. So I'm really hoping that book 2 is as good as this book was. But yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with this book. Then we have The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I feel like this goes without saying. I don't really talk about this series a lot, but I did do a reading vlog of reading Crooked Kingdom, and you can watch me go freak out about all the crazy stuff that happened in this book that I was not expecting. Kaz is literally, like, just the blueprint of a mastermind. Yeah, I don't know. I'm literally obsessed with anything that Leigh Bardugo writes. So, yeah. I still have to read Ninth House. That will come at a later date. Then we have the last fantasy series, really like fantasy, just that genre in general, that I rated 5 stars. And that is the Shatter Me series. I don't think I rated every book in this series 5 stars, but it's, actually I think I did rate every book in this series 5 stars. Because I'm only doing books that I actually physically rated 5 stars. Okay, so I literally rated all 6 of these books 5 stars. And then I obviously read the novellas. They're down here. But I don't rate novellas. I used to, but I don't anymore. But I feel like they would be 5. I don't know. I don't rate novellas. So there's the end of that. But yeah, if you haven't read this series, please go read it right now. I'm also struggling to keep all these books up. But yeah, no, this is a crazy series. A lot of people stop after Ignite Me, but I really think you need to keep reading because so many other crazy things happen, and like you just get opened up to everybody's backgrounds from when they were children, and it's like, how is this happening right now? So yeah, you need to read all 6 books to get the full effect of how amazing this series is. Then we have my mysteries and my thrillers. I only rated 1 thriller. No, that's wrong. I rated 2 thrillers 5 stars. But this is If We Were Villains by NL Rio. I read this at the beginning of the year. This is the first thriller or mystery that I had ever read, and it was very good, and I'm obsessed with this book. The only thing I do say is if you don't understand Shakespeare, do not buy this book. Just don't do it. Don't get it on Kindle Unlimited, if it's even on there. Don't buy it on your Kindle. Don't buy a physical copy. Don't do it if you don't understand Shakespeare. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that. Okay, then we have, hold on, Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I don't really have a lot to say about this book, like I said in my November wrap-up, because I don't know what to say. It was good. The ending really got me. I was only expecting half of it to happen, but that's because we started getting to the end of the story and more things started getting revealed. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about that book. Then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. I did not rate As Good as Dead 5 stars because the second half really threw me off, and I was like, what is going on right now? And it felt so unnecessary. To me, at least, it felt unnecessary. But I really still enjoyed this series, and I'd highly recommend it. I just don't think the second half of As Good as Dead was for me, because I was literally sitting on my living room floor telling my mother how ridiculous this was getting. But yeah, I still highly recommend this series, and it was really good. I just don't think that the ending for As Good as Dead was something that I am totally like, yes, you know? Sometimes we don't support women's wrongs, and that was one of the cases that we do not. Then we have The Inheritance Games and The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. These are the first 2 books in the Inheritance Games trilogy. I didn't rate the final game at 5 stars because Avery was really making me mad with the whole Jameson Grayson situation, and I'm like, girl, pick a side and stick to it because you're really making me mad right now. Also, you're confusing Grayson, and why would you ever do that to him? So yeah, this is a good series. I love this trilogy, and I really need to read The Brothers Hawthorne. And then, The Grandest Game is coming out in 2024, and it's like, I need to read The Brothers Hawthorne. But yeah, these books were really good, and I'm actually reading Little White Lies right now. But Jennifer Lynn Barnes really knows how to write mystery books, I feel like, because all of the little details that went into this trilogy was just absolutely ridiculous and unmatched, and I'm obsessed. Then we have Seagrass Pier and Rosemary Cottage by Colleen Cobble. This is the second and third book in the Hope Beach trilogy. I read the first one, which is Tidewater Inn, in 2022, so it's not a part of this series, but I rated it 5 stars too. This is like mystery romance, but there's also like Christian elements to it too. And these mysteries were really good too. And I need to read more Colleen Cobble because I've literally only read this trilogy and then a standalone of hers, so I need to read more of her books. But yeah, this is a really good trilogy, and I highly recommend it to literally anybody. Then we have romance, and the first book, obviously, is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I read this book twice this year. I read it in like February when I first got it, and then I read it again in like August or July. I just kept seeing too many edits of this book, and I was like, you know what, we're just gonna reread it because why not? I think this is actually in a reading vlog that I did. At least I was like finishing it up. But yeah, I'm obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with Liz and Wes, and I'm so excited for Nothing Like the Movies. I can't even tell you how excited for that I am, even though I have to wait till the fall. And it's probably going to come out in hardcover, so then I'll have to wait another year. I hate when people do this. Okay. Then we have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This is... I don't even know how to describe this book. I just loved it. This is just the epitome of a summer book. Summer's in the title, so I would hope so. But, yeah, it's set in Martha's Vineyard, and there's a game of assassin, and the romance is just amazing, and I loved it. And, yeah, that's all I got. But, no, this book is very good, and I really like it. And I feel like people don't talk about this book enough. It needs to be talked about more. So, then we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is probably my favorite Emily Henry book. I've only read People We Meet on Vacation, Beach Read, and then this one. I still am waiting for the paperback of Happy Place. But yeah, I think this is my favorite Emily Henry book, and it was very good, and I loved it, and I don't know, it's just very good. And it's got like literary fiction elements, so it's not entirely romance, which I like about books when they have like something else than just like the romance story. Then we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. I don't know. I think when I rated this book, I rated it 2 immediately. Like, I didn't sit and think about it, because I feel like I would rate this more of like a 4.5 stars than a 5 stars. But it was still really good, and I really liked it. I don't know, it was good, I just don't think it's 5-star good. Like, when I think back on it, I'm like, I'm not so sure that was really a 5 stars. But this was also very early in my, like, getting back into reading. So, I don't know, I just wasn't as... I don't know, my standards, I guess, weren't as high as they are now for a 5-star book, and I don't know, I honestly don't think it gave me that 5-star feeling, but I thought it did, so I was like, 5 stars, I don't know, I think I rated it too soon. I think I should have sat on it for like 24 hours and then given a rating, but I still really liked it, and it was really good. So, alright, now we have literary fiction. So first we have Purpose Doesn't Pause by Hope Reagan Harris. I got this book as an ARC, and then I got sent 5 copies, and I did a giveaway with 4, and I don't know, this book is so good, and it's helped me a lot with my faith, and I definitely want to like annotate it so then I can like go back and look at different sections. So I will definitely be doing that in the future. I just don't know when. But I really highly recommend this book, and yeah, I don't know. It's very good, and I loved it, and there is literally like songs recommended throughout the book to listen to the different chapters. So, yeah. If that doesn't convince you to go buy the book, I don't know what else would. Then we have Othello, which is Shakespeare. I read this for school, and I don't know, I just really liked it. I think I want to read more Shakespeare because this was very good. Loved the drama. It was very dramatic, which it's a play, so I would hope so, but I don't know, it was good, and I liked it. I don't really know what else to say about this book because, I don't know, it's a Shakespeare play, and it was good. That's all I really have to say. And the drama was wild. Let's just say that. The drama was wild. Then we have Point of View by Elizabeth Hasselbeck. My mom read this book, and then I was bored and wanted a book to read. So I went through her books, and I found this, and I was like, I'm gonna read it. But it is a memoir about her life, and it was very good, and it was very interesting, and I think I learned a lot from this book too. I haven't read a lot of books that are like Christian literary fiction, things like that, but I think I need to because I learn a lot every time I read books like this. So then we have 66 Ways God Loves You by Jennifer Rothschild. It's basically just like stories. It's the 66 books of the Bible, and then like the different ways that God loves you throughout the different books of the Bible, I guess is the best way to describe it. But I also learned a lot from this, you know? Like, you see the pattern we're getting here? Then we have One Perfect Word by Debbie Macomber. I think that's right. This is basically about finding one word yeah, I feel like this book is like just, I don't know. Again, I learned a lot from this book. There's not much that I have to say other than that, like, it was good. Like, these kinds of books, I don't have a lot to say, but I do learn a lot, and that is typically why I give it 5 stars, because of how much that I learned from these books. Alright, and that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload, which is on Mondays. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!